If you could have just one bite, you wouldn't have clicked on this video. The truth is that moderation doesn't work when your cravings are out of control. Every time you try to manage that sweet tooth with a small treat, you're not fixing the problem. You're feeding the cravings that are holding you hostage. Today, I'm sharing the absolute best way to stop cravings completely. This isn't the easy path from the standard American diet. Everybody hates that advice because it does not work. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is the only way that works long term. If you're new here, I'm Violet, and I make these videos because 8 years ago, I learned that the food I thought were healthy were actually causing my weight gain and my poor health. I'm going to share what I learned so that you have a chance to get your health back and get your weight under control. Please subscribe. When we're dieting, there's this path that happens. We do good for 3-4 days. And then because dieting is really hard, we think we deserve a treat. Not even we think that. We've been taught we deserve a treat and we end up having something. But that something that we have, because we've been told that it's okay, turns into a binge. Then we feel broken because we see other people claiming to do diets easily. We see other people claiming to be able to eat one cookie, and we can't understand what's wrong with us that we can't do the same. I need you to understand that you aren't broken. There's nothing wrong with you internally. What's actually happening is your biochemistry, so all the chemistry that lives inside of every person, is being hijacked. So we are being biojacked. Everything in moderation is a dangerous lie. It's bad advice, and it creates sugar dependency. We need to understand that all carbs keep our dependency pathways in our brain open. So even those healthy green beans train the brain to expect glucose at every meal. And it guides you back to the cookies and ice cream and chocolate that you're trying to put down. Moderation is a huge trick that has been put on our shoulders by food companies to keep us trapped because we think we're doing good by only eating a little bit, but we're not. We're feeding those cravings every time we have a little bit of the junk food or a lot of the healthy food. Either way, we're feeding our cravings. So I want you to think about this. If you saw someone drinking wine at 7 a.m., you'd recognize that that had to be a dependency of some kind, right? There would be no question in your mind, why are they drinking wine at 7 a.m.? But if someone is eating a bowl of Frosted Flakes at 7 a.m., society calls this part of a complete breakfast. Moderation failed you because the game is set up so that we are all going to fail from day one. Because there isn't moderation if all I'm eating are high carbohydrate things that completely trigger my brain and get me to want more and more and more. Now, we know cookies are a problem, but what they hide is that their insistence on our eating healthy carbs like green beans and apples is exactly what ensures that you never stop craving those cookies. Those healthy carbohydrates, those foods that are so good for us, make sure that the cookies are irresistible. Telling somebody who has cravings to eat fruit for breakfast is like telling the alcoholic it's okay to drink in the morning as long as it's a light beer, for example. It looks responsible, but it keeps the dependency pathway open. And by the way, we still wouldn't think that the light beer was all right. So how does it actually work? What's happening that fruits and vegetables keep the pathway open? When you eat fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, all these healthy plants, your insulin spikes because these plants are carbohydrate first. Insulin has one job, one main job, to store energy. But while insulin is storing energy, So that's putting it in fat storage, storing it. It locks your body's own energy inside of that fat storage. So it's stuck inside of you. So if I'm eating high carb foods and my body is putting energy in fat storage, I can't at the same time take energy out of fat storage. Body fat isn't just weight we're trying to lose, Wellness Warrior. It's your backup generator. Hours of fuel meant to keep you alive between meals. You are supposed to be accessing the fat on your body between meals. Because remember, back in the day, when we were living on the land, not in houses with fridges, maybe we caught an animal every 2 to 3 days. And in those in-between days, the fat on our body kept us going. In a healthy metabolism, the generator kicks on really fast, automatically as a matter of fact, when your stomach is empty. But because you ate that healthy fruit, insulin is still high in the system hours later. Your stomach is now empty, but your body cannot access the backup energy, so that generator just doesn't turn on because insulin is too high. You are now full of energy, right? You have body fat on you, but you're starving because your body fat is trapped behind that lock that insulin is creating. Now your brain goes crazy. It's like, I need energy, I need energy. And it sounds the alarm, hey, go out and eat something. You need to bring in some energy. That alarm is real. You are hungry, but then you're going to be craving something of quick energy because your brain is looking for energy right now. And unfortunately, we end up eating more high carb stuff to get that fast energy. So you didn't actually fall off the wagon like we often think we've done at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we just have to have insert cookie, ice cream, chocolate, whatever it is you end up having. You were pushed off the wagon at 8 a.m. by the healthy breakfast, standard advice foolishness that we are told to eat. You are starving while sitting on a mountain of fuel, Wellness Warrior. But here's where it gets exciting. When we access that fuel, we don't just solve the cravings. We solve the number one thing needed to change your life forever. That one thing is your freedom from being hungry all the time. Standard advice asks you to fight hunger forever. And that's unsustainable. And as a matter of fact, it's torturous. It's more than just unsustainable, it's torturous. The real solution is to end the hunger by accessing your own supply of energy that you've been walking around with for years. If insulin being high is locking that energy inside of you, then what we have to do is allow insulin to back off a little bit. Allow insulin not to be standing guard and holding on to all this energy. So how do we do that? We eat foods that don't trigger insulin. If we eat animal protein and animal fats, the healthy stuff, insulin is not triggered in any level that it's triggered when we eat foods that are carbohydrate first. So we're talking about meat, fish, poultry, and eggs do not trigger our body to release insulin the way that fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, legumes do. Those starches, right? Trigger our body. When insulin drops, fuel's released, right? You actually your body has what it needs to not only fuel you, your body has also building blocks because, for example, our entire brain pretty much is made of fat, right? Every cell of the body is made of fat. So your body actually needs fat, not just as a fuel source. It is also a building block. Suddenly you aren't eating less because you have so much willpower, as they try to get us to believe, which never works. Like, have you ever been able to do it? I can put my hand up that I was never able to do it. You are fueling your day from that mountain of energy that you've been sitting on for years. And here's the secret. When you're fueled by your own fat, cravings disappear. Isn't that weird? If I'm not eating all these high carbohydrate stupidities, and my body is now able to dip into the energy on me, and then when I do bring in new food, it is meat, fish, poultry, eggs, the lowest glycemic vegetables that I can, and I'm not constantly driving my brain to be dopamine chasing, and then all of a sudden my cravings do not exist any longer. You don't need snacks to survive until dinner because you've got a 24/7 energy source walking around with you, right? That backup generator is with you all the time. You never had a willpower problem. You had an access problem, and we just fixed it. Just like that. And now we need to address the elephant in the room. Moderation. That balanced diet is a physiological trap that keeps you miserable and keeps companies in business. That standard advice says that you need some carbs for fuel. This is a lie. You never needed the carbs for fuel, Wellness Warrior. Never, at no point. Our body makes all the carbohydrates that we need. When you try to moderate, you don't get the best of both worlds. The reality is that when you try to moderate, you are still eating enough carbohydrates to keep the insulin high, to keep your brain chasing, and to keep your own internal fuel trapped. You suffer all this deprivation with none of the benefits because you're just having a little bit of, trying to have a little bit of chocolate, trying to have a little bit of ice cream, and you want more because, and you feel deprived. And you're not even losing weight. Stop letting these companies gaslight your metabolism. When you fully commit to lowering insulin, you gain energy, independence. You don't need to eat every 5 seconds. I eat once a day, and I'm so happy that I eat once a day. Sometimes I eat twice, but I'm not eating 24/7 snack. I used to have 3 meals, 2 snacks, and still would have been going to bed saying I shouldn't eat anything else, but I really wanted to. Can you imagine that after I started doing this diet, my afternoons completely changed? Like right away, my afternoon falling asleep and needing a snack to stay awake, and now 3 p.m. comes and goes and I don't even notice because my body is effortlessly fueling itself from the reserves that are on me. And even as I'm standing here at goal weight, my body has reserves that it can pull from. I get through my 24-hour period and I can go longer because sometimes I do and could do 48 and easily. This is the piece of the puzzle that we've all been looking for but didn't know was right in front of us. By allowing my body to access the energy on board because I've put down the extra carbohydrates that I was eating, my body has the ability to regulate its weight, and that's amazing for me. I'm so happy that I figured that out. So now that you know why you need to let your body access the onboard energy and how to do it by eating meat, fish, poultry, eggs, keeping your carbohydrates really low, as close to 20 and even under 20 that you possibly can grams of sugar per day. Now you need to know how to eat so that insulin is never trapping you again. So you want to click on this video right here. Click on the link. I'm going to meet you over there.